Yo, 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 yo. Welcome back to a fresh episode of Talkin Game. It's your host, Yellow Tape King, Tony Lewis, LT, Anthony. Depending on what you call me, lets me know what I was on when you met me. And today I wanted to do a special episode, late night. It's 1:14 in the morning. Just finished watching the Lakers and the Magic. Today was a sports equinox day. If you don't know what sports equinox is when all four of America's major sports are playing on the same day. Just so happened this is the only day this year that it's going to happen. We had hockey, NBA, NFL, and MLB with the World Series. I'm not a hockey guy, so I didn't dedicate any time to watching any hockey today. But I did watch the other three major sports. I watched all of the World Series game. I watched the first quarter and the entire second half of the NFL Monday Night Football game. I watched from about 6 minutes in the first quarter to go all the way up into the end of the Lakers game. So I think I did pretty well watching a little bit of three of the four major sports. The three sports that I'm really into and the three sports that I knew I was going to be watching anyway and that I cover on this podcast. Let's get started with things that I saw. This is all sports equinox. I'm not going to break down week 8 of the NFL just yet. I'll save that for maybe later on today or tomorrow. Later on in the week, I'll let you know when that's going to happen. First thing I watched was the World Series. One of the first things I noticed is Max Scherzer looks like he may be on his last leg. He's looking like a 40-year-old pitcher where he can get away with things because he is a 40-year-old pitcher and he's a wily vet, but he's just not overpowering people anymore. And his body's starting to seem like it's deceiving him and breaking down. He's hurt, back issues. He is slated to start Game 7. That is a big deal for the Rangers if he cannot continue to go. They only have 3 starters officially. You drop that down to 2. Evaldi and Montgomery both combined gave up 9 runs in the first 2 games. So they haven't been on their A game. This is going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Garcia got hurt as well. That's the one thing about baseball. Well, not the one thing, but that's something about baseball that if you watch it, you know. When it comes to series, these games are all connected. The Rangers had to use that bullpen. They're already short a pitcher now. Let's see how this affects games 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 because we have a long series and the Rangers real deal just had an issue. Just got a real big dent in their rotation. Corey Seager, though, grown man. He's very clutch. It seems like he's only hitting home runs right now. But this is why you spend the money. This is why you shell out $200 million contracts for a player like Corey Seager to be in the playoffs hitting home runs when it counts. And that seems to be all that he does. Let's keep it real. He is also a great defensive player. He hits for average. But when he gets a hold of a ball, sayonara sucker. Sayonara sucker. It was interesting because I started taking my notes at like the 8th inning, a little bit in the 7th, and really started taking my notes for the game in the 8th inning. And going into the 8th, you got Aroldis Chapman coming up. The Rangers bullpen was amazing so far in the playoffs, not giving up a run as of yet. And here comes Aroldis Chapman. Gives up a run. In Chapman's defense, he was going against the hottest part of the D-backs lineup. The bottom of the D-backs lineup is batting over 400 for the series so far. They scored 12 runs up until that moment, and then they scored another run off Chapman. So 13 runs, batting over 400 in the first 3 games. I had wrote in my notes before any of this happened that the D-backs just can't get a clutch hit because they were getting traffic throughout the game, but they were not able to plate runs. And as soon as I typed that out in my notes, Perdomo gets the RBI in the bottom of the 8th, and I'm like, okay, we got a whole new game, because now you have Carroll coming up. He's the tying run. We've seen the power that he has, and Chapman gets out of the jam. Each time that you felt like the Rangers were going to give up the game, you would get a pitching performance from their bullpen that will shut things down. That shut things down for the D-backs. And this is going 7, I believe. I picked the D-backs to win it. And if I'm the Diamondbacks, that is what I'm leaning on. I'm leaning on the Rangers over 162 games. Their bullpen was their biggest issue. That issue is going to rear its head again. If I'm the D-backs, I'm staying close in these games. I'm letting Boshi, I'm sorry, I'm butchering the manager of the Rangers' name up, wear that bullpen out. You're going to start seeing the fruits of that labor if you're the D-backs in games 4, 5, 6, 7, if it goes that far. I picked the D-backs in 7, and I'm picking the long game. Watching the game, it seems as though the talent disparity is definitely leans towards the Rangers, but just the way that this series is going and lining up, I feel like the longer the series it is, the more that it can swing in the Rangers' way. So it's going to be interesting to see, and I will be watching, and I will be back podcasting about it. You better know it. Now, going forward, I want to talk about the Monday Night Football game. Definitely watch that. Watch the second half of that. Most of the first quarter. The Lions are legit. I know they kind of fell off the wagon and they got beat pretty bad against the Ravens last week. But the reason why I say they're legit is because they have 2 things. At least one thing. I can't really judge it off of the Raiders because their offense was terrible. But their running game is pretty legit. And we all know 2 things travel. And that's defense and the running game. The Lions beat the Raiders up on both lines. They dominated rushing with 200 plus rush yards, 150 plus rush yards in between the tackles. And then defensively, they had 5 sacks on Jimmy Garoppolo, just wreaking havoc all day. Raiders couldn't stop the run. As stated, Gibbs cooked me. I took the under on Prize Picks. I think it was like 65 yards or something like that. I actually took it on accident. I was hype when he got over 65 because I was like, yes, let me get this win. And come to find out, I took the under and he went way over. I think the Jimmy G experiment is over. I think he can go back to being a rest of his career backup. Going 10 minutes left in the game, he was 6 for 15, 62 yards. That's just not going to cut it. You have, at worst, a top 5 wide receiver on your roster, and you can't get him the ball but one time for 11 yards. You have a chance to win the game with 4 minutes left. At least get a chance to be in striking distance with 4 minutes left. Devontae Adams is running down the sideline freely, and you airmail him by at least 10 yards. Come on, Jimmy G. Come on, Jimmy G. This is not what they traded you for. Traded for you for. You have to be better. I don't know if you can be better. I will give him this pass. That offensive line was so bad that he really didn't have the time to set his feet a lot of times and make those throws. And we cannot expect everybody to be Aaron Rodgers or quarterbacks of that nature to make those off-platform throws and to make them look easy. They're not. That's what makes them amazing when those things happen. So I will give Jimmy G that, but you have to find a way to make it happen. You know, at the end of the day, wins and losses always fall on the quarterback. And you just have to be better. Josh Jacobs averaged 4 yards a carry. He probably deserved some more touches. That might have opened up things and got the pass rush off of your ass. That goes to Josh McDaniels. Excuse me. Trade Devontae Adams. Please. Pretty please. Raiders, we deserve to see Devontae Adams play meaningful games in the playoffs for a good team. Please. I know he wanted his money. He got his money. Let my boy go. Free my dog. Jared Goff, doing Jared Goff things. He played pretty well, above average. He did have that pick six. Doing Jared Goff things. I mean, he doesn't turn the ball over a lot. He's averaging 1 turnover out of every 70 throws, which is great. But Goff, throw that shit into the stands. You cannot allow a pick six that puts the team back in the game when you could have at least kicked the field goal and kept your foot on their neck and made it a 12-point lead at that time. It would have been a different game if the Lions don't have those back-to-back turnovers. It's probably an even bigger blowout because right after that pick six, they get the ball right back, march down the field, and then they fumble on the 2-yard line. So that's a minimum of 6 points, a maximum of 14 points. And then you just have a whole different game, and you can really see the dominance that the Lions displayed against the Raiders. This game was not as close as the score would indicate. And let's see where the Lions end up. They are going into their bye week at 6-2. Their next 4 games are all against teams under 500. They got Chargers, Bears, Packers, Saints, all winnable games. And then we're talking about 10-2. And depending on what happens with the Eagles and the Cowboys, tied for first place. There's a lot of football to be played. You never want to look too far ahead, especially in the NFL, especially seeing as this is the same team that got blew out last week. But this is going to be interesting to see. A lot of people are skeptical. They're like, oh, these are the same old Lions. But these might be the Lions that can host a playoff game at Ford Field for the first time in the history of the stadium being open. The first time in 30 years, the Lions may actually host a playoff game. Shout out to the Lions. Shout out to Dan Campbell. Shout out to Jared Goff. That was my second part of the Sports Equinox. Now for the third and final part of the Sports Equinox. I'm hitting these things quick. I just felt like I needed to speak on this sports holiday. That's right. I'm calling this a sports holiday. We only get this once a year, sometimes twice, 3 times a year, but no more than that. And this is definitely a sports holiday. So all my sports fans, this is truly for you. But my third and final part of the Sports Equinox was watching my Lakers play against, I guess you could say, because geographically or regionally, my Orlando Magic. First thing I took away from it was this was the first game the Lakers were leading after the first quarter, which is major. The Lakers clearly love to come from behind, start off, 8 to 10 points down, give a head start, and then see if they can come back and win it in the fourth quarter. Even with the Lakers finishing with the lead after the first, it was disappointing for them to be down at half. The Lakers still have to figure out the non-LeBron minutes. The transition defense is terrible. got to figure out the floor balancing, because if AD or LeBron or Woods or anybody's not getting a rebound, it's nobody getting back to defend the outlet pass. Or just the guard taking it on a rebound and going coast to coast. It seems to really mess with the Lakers, and they cannot stop the ball in those situations. Christian Woods, though, sneaky good defender. 2 blocks that I can recall off the top of my head. I'm not looking at the box score. He showed it the other day when he was guarding KD in the fourth quarter. 7 foot, you cannot teach that. He's been moving his feet. He's been playing without fouling. That is major, because with him and Anthony Davis, or even him with Jackson Hayes, or Anthony Davis, Jackson Hayes, that allows the Lakers to play big and athletic, because it's not necessarily a big post player that's just bogging up the lane. Christian Woods can stretch the floor. Anthony Davis can at least shoot a mid-range. I don't want him shooting as many threes as Darvin Ham does, but he can if he's feeling it. He has a good rhythm about himself. Jackson Hayes is a roll guy to the rim. He's not nobody just sitting in the paint clogging. But on the flip side, you get rim protection. It helps with rebounds, even though it didn't really help today. The Magic, at some point in the fourth quarter, had 13 more shots than the Lakers and had a lead in the fourth quarter, because the Lakers are not putting away teams that they should put away. Just like they should have put the Suns away the other night when they only had Kevin Durant. If the Lakers want to be a championship team, these are the teams that you have to put out of their misery early and not play with them. If the Lakers want to really manage LeBron's minutes, how about you beat these teams early so LeBron can sit down in the fourth quarter? It seems, from what I've been seeing, is LeBron is coasting in the first 3 quarters, and then the fourth quarter is when he wants to turn up. But my issue with that is every team has somebody who can get hot and take over and win a game. I feel like every team in the NBA does. That is the beauty of the NBA right now, and that is what makes it so fun and exciting, is every night you can put on any game and you can watch somebody who can go off. So I think the Lakers kind of got to figure that out. I want to see these Torian Prince, Rui Hachimura minutes when Vando gets back. Torian Prince is playing well. He's shooting well. We know what he brings defensively. So that would be the upgrade from Vanderbilt. I'm interested to see if Rui can get into the form that he was in the back half of last season in the playoffs, and see what that means for Vanderbilt. But we have a lot of different pieces that fit in different places, and I believe Darvin Ham is still trying to figure that out. I did realize that it is too many times still that Anthony Davis goes down. He's fighting on defense. He gets the block, gets the rebound of some sort, or just contest. He's coming down on offense, and he doesn't even get a look. I feel like it's too many times that Anthony Davis does not get touches on offense. And then I realized down the stretch that sometimes, a lot of the times when Anthony Davis does get touches, it's too hard for him to score. He's too far out. He has to take too many dribbles. Darvin Ham needs to find a way to get Anthony Davis more easy buckets. Now, I will say this. I've been realized this since last year. I do understand part of the problem is, crazy enough, D'Angelo Russell misses Anthony Davis a lot on pick and rolls. He does. Whether it's errant passes not even being attempted, he misses Anthony Davis a lot. But we cannot expect Anthony Davis to be the guy that we want him to be, and you guys are not funneling touches to him. It's just not going to happen. But the Lakers won. Anthony Davis is showing up. Ever since that second half in Denver in Game 1 when he gave you nothing, Anthony Davis has been balling. He has played every game so far. We're only at 4 games, but he has played every game so far. He hasn't complained, and he's really been stepping up. So shout out to Anthony Davis, man. They tear you down. We talk all our shit. We have to be able to praise him when he's balling out like he has. Real quick, the NBA put in the clear path foul to speed up the game, to not reward stopping the fast break, and to almost like the pitch clock in baseball, speed up the game, make the game go by quicker. You guys did not do that to spend 5 to 10 minutes reviewing if it was a clear path. Come on, referees. Come on, what is Secaucus, New Jersey. Can we please do better? If there's one thing that needs to be changed, is the review of a clear path. That should only be, at most, a huddle up with the refs. They make their decision and keep it moving. No one has time. That's literally the opposite of why you put in the clear path foul. All right, guys? Let's fix that. Real quick on the Magic. Super young, super athletic. But you know how that goes in the NBA. Young teams don't win. They're still like a year away, maybe 2. Totally wasted their draft. Anthony Black isn't even in rotation. Jet Howard not in rotation. So I don't really know what was the point of that. Maybe we'll figure that out in years to come. But shout out to Banchero, Gary Harrison, all the Magic, man. Y'all know I secretly root for the Magic because they're right here in our backyard. But that was quick. About 7 minutes on all 3 games. I enjoyed my sports equinox. I hope you guys did too. I'll be back later this week to break down week 8 of the NFL. Peace.